Prakerja hadir sebagai inovasi untuk meningkatkan kompetensi dan produktivitas angkatan kerja serta pemulihan dampak COVID-19. Kartu Prakerja diluncurkan pada April 2020 dan sudah diterima oleh lebih dari 11,7 juta orang di Indonesia. Terdistribusi secara luas ke seluruh Indonesia, mulai dari Sabang sampai Merauke, Miangas hingga Rote. Program Kartu Prakerja terus berinovasi, mengubah cara lama menjadi cara baru yang inovatif. Ada 3 inovasi yang diterapkan dalam program Kartu Prakerja. Pertama, Kartu Prakerja adalah pionir pelayanan publik secara end-to-end digital. Seluruh tahapan program dilaksanakan secara online dengan proses pendaftaran yang mudah, cepat, dan dapat diikuti oleh siapa saja. Proses verifikasi peserta terintegrasi dengan data kementerian dan lembaga. Peserta diseleksi secara online melalui randomisasi yang adil. Hasil seleksi program dikirim via SMS dan dashboard. Beasiswa pelatihan ditampung dalam virtual account untuk membeli pelatihan dengan nomor Kartu Prakerja di platform digital. Peserta mengetahui jadwal pencairan insentif pada dashboard dan akan menerimanya melalui akun bank atau dompet digital yang telah ditautkan. Metode ini lebih transparan dan akuntabel. Inovasi kedua, Kartu Prakerja memiliki desain program baru yang unik dan inovatif. Kartu Prakerja menjalankan misi ganda, yaitu meningkatkan keterampilan angkatan kerja dan menjaga daya beli di tengah pandemi COVID-19. Dengan sistem on-demand application, siapa saja yang membutuhkan program ini dapat mendaftarkan diri pada situs. Ekosistem pelatihan digital terbesar di Indonesia tersedia dari kolaborasi antara pemerintah dan swasta. Metode pembayaran multi-channel G2P payment terbukti mampu mengakselerasi inklusi keuangan. Kartu Prakerja tanggap merespon keluhan peserta dengan kontak center yang terintegrasi dan tersedia 24 jam. Inovasi ketiga adalah sinergi antara manajemen pelaksana dengan kementerian dan lembaga. Peran untuk menentukan arah kebijakan terdapat pada Komite Cipta Kerja dan tim pelaksana. Manajemen pelaksana menjalankan fungsi operasional. Dengan ketiga inovasi tersebut, Kartu Prakerja mendapat pengakuan dari lembaga negara dan pakar kebijakan publik dunia. Inovasi terus dilakukan untuk menjawab kebutuhan dan memastikan keberlanjutan.
Saya akan meningkatkan lebih banyak lagi program pelatihan untuk para pencari kerja dan korban PHK. Untuk itu akan saya luncurkan yang namanya Kartu Prakerja seperti ini. Kartu Prakerja, layanan pelatihan vokasi untuk scaling, reskilling, dan untuk upscaling. Bagi yang belum bekerja, bagi yang berstatus sebagai pekerja, juga bagi yang akan berganti pekerjaan.
Pagi saya mendapatkan laporan dari Pak Menteri Kesehatan bahwa ibu ini dan putrinya positif corona.
Semalam, saudara, pendaftaran program Kartu Prakerja resmi dibuka pemerintah hari ini.
Malam hari ini, hari Sabtu, kami akan mengumumkan pembukaan pendaftaran program Kartu Prakerja.
Kartu Prakerja juga ditujukan sebagai sebuah instrumen social safety net.
Setelah mengikuti pelatihan ini tadi, Anda merasakan manfaatnya nggak?
Pelatihan prakerja itu kan kita bisa praktekkan di rumah, tambah skill, menambah penghasilan juga, menambah pemasukan juga.
600.000-nya utuh ya?
Betul.
Tidak berkurang Rp1 pun?
Tidak berkurang.
Pelatihannya sangat bermanfaat untuk kami para UMKM.
Ada kenyataannya kita di Papua sini bisa ikut merasakan program pemerintah.
Sangat-sangat bagus.
Yang tanda.
Karena dalam zaman yang penuh dengan kompetisi seperti ini, kalau keterampilan kita, skill kita tiap hari tidak kita perbaiki, hilang kita.
Pernah putus semangat ya,
selalu belajar, jangan pernah berhenti dan merasa cukup dengan ilmu yang dipunya, karena ilmu itu tidak akan habis. Kita selalu akan menemukan ilmu-ilmu yang baru yang belum kita capai.
Kartu Prakerja siap kerja.
Indonesia, a country with many potentials. The natural resources, the people, the economy. Looking at the growing numbers of new digital consumers in the last 2 years, Indonesia has potential in the digital economy. The challenge is that Indonesia is targeting the Financial Inclusion Index to reach 90% in 2024, while the 2019 data shows that the latest index score is 76.9%, and people's economy is greatly affected by the pandemic. As part of the National Economic Recovery Strategy, the government of Indonesia launched the Kartu Prakerja program. This program is one of the government-to-person programs that collaborate with various partners. Kartu Prakerja program is a competency development program for the workforce in Indonesia, especially for people affected by the pandemic and those who want to become an entrepreneur or start a new career. We believe one of the ways to deal with the crisis is to invest in knowledge and skills. Through the synergy with many partners, Kartu Prakerja supports people across Indonesia to explore their great potential. Since the Kartu Prakerja program launched in April 2020, it's already impacted millions of people in Indonesia through government and private organization collaboration. Through a collaboration with digital platforms, course providers, job platforms, and payment partners, the Kartu Prakerja program participants have an opportunity to join courses that can help them improve their competencies and career and further their qualifications. 25% of Kartu Prakerja program participants didn't have an e-wallet nor bank account before joining the program. By applicating a 100% end-to-end digital process, the participants are encouraged to be more digitally literate, especially in using e-wallets for their daily needs. Various payment partners collaborate with the government in this program, from banks to e-wallets like Link Aja. The data shows that 76% of Kartu Prakerja participants chose an e-wallet as their incentive fund distributor. As part of the payment partner, Link Aja also keeps contributing to the Kartu Prakerja program to help increase Indonesian people's financial inclusion by providing a product that is easy to use. Hence, the participant can use their incentive for their daily needs conveniently.
Nama saya Triana Nugra Permana, biasa dipanggil Pongki. Saya bergabung di Tasawuf Underground sudah 2 tahun kurang lebihnya. Yang menjadi alasan saya untuk bergabung di sini dan betah di sini adalah agama. Ingin mempelajari agama.
Di Tasawuf Underground, anak-anak pang dan jalanan dilibatkan dalam pelatihan-pelatihan yang mendukung kepada wirausaha dan kemandirian.
Saya tahu program prakerja dari teman di Bekasi, ngambil kursus bahasa Inggris karena ingin bisa berbicara bahasa internasional, belajar jadi pengusaha.
Saya senang program prakerja dari pemerintah ini berhasil menjangkau kalangan marginal, anak-anak pang dan jalanan binaan kami.
Anak muda itu harus bisa berinovasi dan ngembangin dirinya agar bisa bertahan. Apalagi di situasi pandemi seperti ini. Saya Rangga, dulu sebelum pandemi saya bekerja di perusahaan percetakan di Tasikmalaya sebagai desainer grafis.
Saya Alia, dulu bekerja sebagai freelancer untuk event. Aku terjun di dunia event itu bulan Desember 2019. Pas awal pandemi, semua rencana event yang seharusnya terlaksana jadi harus berhenti total. Aku sempat ngerasa hopeless, saking aku kayak sedihnya gitu.
Situasi kantor ketika pandemi datang, ya orderan makin berkurang, omset perusahaan anjlok, sampai-sampai nggak ada lagi pekerjaan buat saya. Dan saya sendiri di rumah kan.
Jadi nggak bisa bantu keluarga di rumah yang tadinya bisa untuk bayar listrik dan air. Sekarang karena nggak ada penghasilan, jadi nggak bisa bantu lagi.
Habis itu saya dengar tentang program prakerja dari temen. Dan alhamdulillah Rangga coba daftar, terus lolos.
Lalu kan bingung pembayarannya gimana, akhirnya pilih GoPay.
Saya pilih GoPay karena proses verifikasinya itu cepat banget. Terus udah familiar di daerah sini, pencairan dana insentif yang masuk juga cepat turun gitu.
Itu insentifnya yang turun dari program prakerja, setengahnya itu ditaruh di GoPay buat beli paket data atau beli listrik.
Berkat prakerja, saya bisa mendapatkan ilmu untuk bisa terus berinovasi. Saya memilih pelatihan desain grafis, strategi efektif menjalankan internet marketing, dan juga trik sukses jualan di marketplace.
Dengan ilmu baru tentang digital marketing yang aku dapatkan dari program prakerja, aku terbantu untuk mengembangkan usaha makanan sehat yang aku pasarkan secara online. Belajar itu tidak ada kata berhenti, selama kita mau mengembangkan diri, semua masalah yang kita hadapi bisa kita atasi.
Saya rasa kita bisa menghadapi situasi sulit seperti saat pandemi ini.
Pandemi COVID-19 menjadi pemantik transformasi digital di Indonesia. Menuju Indonesia Emas 2045, pemerintah Indonesia berupaya menyiapkan generasi muda unggul dan berdaya saing di era global. Salah satunya melalui program Kartu Prakerja.
Saya saat pandemi bekerja sebagai buruh harian, namun ya ter-PHK. Saat ini sih saya sudah mulai usaha batok arang kelapa ini. Ya lumayan lah Mbak, dari sisa modal pesangon bisa berjalan, alhamdulillah. Ya berhubung saya nggak punya rekening, nggak punya tabungan, saya milih insentifnya untuk masuk ke dompet digital saya Mbak. Untungnya itu mudah banget sekarang Mbak.
Pada tahun 2020 saya memperoleh pelatihan prakerja. Di situ ada pelatihan-pelatihan seperti digital marketing yang saya ikuti, sehingga saya dapat meningkatkan kembali untuk usaha saya seperti itu. Untuk penggunaan aplikasi Dana sendiri karena mudah, saya biasa menggunakan untuk melakukan pembayaran yang terutama yang ada QRIS-nya. Manfaatnya sih banyak ya, bergabung dalam Dana bisnis. Setiap kali ada pembayaran masuk ke Dana bisnis itu bisa dicairkan ke akun Dananya atau langsung ditransfer ke rekening bank.
Dengan semangat kolaborasi lintas sektor, program Kartu Prakerja hadir di tengah masyarakat Indonesia bukan hanya sebagai social safety net, namun terbukti dapat meningkatkan kompetensi, produktivitas, dan daya saing angkatan kerja serta pengembangan wirausaha mandiri. Kehadiran Dana sebagai penyedia teknologi finansial dan sebagai salah satu mitra kolaborasi membuktikan bahwa inklusi keuangan dapat tercipta secara masif dan berkelanjutan.
Proses penautan untuk pencairan insentif prakerjanya gampang dan cepat.
Cuma verifikasi KTP dan foto selfie aja kok Mbak. Insentif prakerja yang saya dapatin biasanya saya pakai untuk kebutuhan sehari-hari, dari bayar listrik, terus bayar pulsa, bayar internet, sampai BPJS. Untungnya bayar-bayar kayak gini tuh bisa lewat Dana. Jadi insentif prakerja itu ya buat bayar gini-gini Mbak.
Recover together, recover stronger. Dana untuk Indonesia.
Pandemi COVID-19 berdampak luas terhadap ekonomi global. Dampaknya antara lain adalah penutupan usaha maupun pengurangan pegawai. Pemerintah Indonesia melakukan berbagai langkah mitigasi menekan penyebaran sekaligus mempercepat pemulihan ekonomi. Kartu Prakerja adalah program pemerintah Indonesia untuk pengembangan kompetensi kerja dan kewirausahaan. Program ini ditujukan untuk para pencari kerja atau buruh yang terkena pemutusan hubungan kerja dan juga pekerja yang ingin meningkatkan kompetensi dalam pengembangan perekonomian skala kecil dan mikro. Mari kita simak pengalaman Bayu Juliandri, salah seorang penerima program Kartu Prakerja.
Halo, perkenalkan nama saya Bayu Juliandri, saya salah satu alumni program Kartu Prakerja. Dulu saya adalah seorang pegawai di sebuah perusahaan, saya di bagian engineering listrik. Kondisi perusahaan saat itu kurang baik dan saya terkena kebijakan pengurangan karyawan. Ya sedih, bingung dan macam-macam perasaan lah. Kan saya juga udah berkeluarga, apalagi saya kepala keluarga yang tanggung jawab menafkahi anak dan istri. Di tengah kebingungan itu saya tidak sengaja menonton siaran berita Pak Presiden Jokowi sedang meluncurkan program bantuan untuk orang-orang yang nasibnya mirip saya. Saya ingat namanya program Kartu Prakerja. Langsung saya cari-cari di internet. Saya lihat programnya pas banget buat saya. Ada pelatihan, ada uang insentif. Situ saya langsung cepat-cepat untuk mendaftarkan secara online. Pendaftarannya bisa saya lakukan sendiri, cukup sederhana dan prosedurnya cepat. Akhirnya saya mendapat paket pelatihan sesuai minat dan keahlian saya. Jadilah saya seperti sekarang ini. Saya ingin mengelola usaha sendiri, berwirausaha. Penjualan kopi yang saya lakukan di kedai maupun secara online. Bahkan saya mengembangkan usaha saya dengan beternak lele dan punya usaha warung pecel lele. Nah, tadi saya cerita bahwa program Kartu Prakerja itu dapat bantuan insentif. Di sanalah saya juga agak bingung, karena uang itu ditransfer langsung ke rekening. Padahal saya belum pernah punya rekening bank. Ternyata hal itu pun mudah, karena bank yang ditunjuk adalah Bank BNI. Pembukaan rekeningnya bisa online, melalui ponsel saya, dan dapat saya lakukan sendiri. Dengan Bank BNI juga, saya dibantu melalui program permodalan KUR, kredit usaha rakyat. Usaha saya jadi berkembang sampai ada ternak lele, warung pecel lele, sampai jualan online lele frozen. Menurut saya, program Kartu Prakerja ini sangat menolong kehidupan saya. Saya diberi pelatihan sekaligus uang insentif. Saya bisa bangkit lagi menghidupi keluarga saya. Terima kasih Kartu Prakerja.
Hello, good morning and welcome to CNN Indonesia webinar, Kartu Prakerja, Indonesia's Digital Transformation and Financial Inclusion Breakthrough. I am Frida Litvina and I'm so honored to be the moderator of today's webinar, where we will discuss the results of a study by the World Bank and the National Team for the Acceleration of Poverty Reduction, or TNP2K. This study highlights Kartu Prakerja's innovation in social assistance disbursement, one of which is by partnering with several banks and fintechs who have shared their experience through the videos we have seen earlier. And now we would like to express our thanks to our payment partners for the videos and continuous support to the program. I also would like to greet all participants who have joined through Zoom. Hello everyone. We're so happy to have you here with us and very excited to start this webinar soon. And also we'd like to say hi to all viewers from Kartu Prakerja's YouTube channel, CNN Indonesia's YouTube channel, and our website cnnindonesia.com. This webinar will be delivered fully in English, but for those who prefer to listen in Indonesian, our live translation can be accessed through the Zoom translation feature. And to start our webinar, we will hear opening remarks from the Executive Secretary of the National Team for Acceleration of Poverty Reduction, Mr. Suprayoga Hadi, and World Bank Country Director for Indonesia and Timor-Leste, Madam Satu Kähkönen. Firstly, I would like to invite Mr. Suprayoga Hadi. Hello, Pak Suprayoga, how are you?
Hello, Mbak Frida. I'm fine, thank you, and hopefully everything is in a healthy condition.
Thank you, Pa, and we're so happy to have you with us in this webinar. Prior to his role as the Executive Secretary of TNP2K, Mr. Suprayoga was active in the Ministry of Village, Disadvantaged Region and Transmigration, as well as in the National Development Planning Agency, or Bappenas. He completed his doctoral degree at the University of Southern California, USA in 2020. And to Mr. Suprayoga, the screen is yours.
Thank you, Mbak Frida, and good morning to you all. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Your Excellency, Bapak Airlangga Hartarto, Coordinating Minister for Economic Affairs, Public Affairs Indonesia. Excellency Ibu Satu Kähkönen, World Bank Country Director for Indonesia and Timor-Leste. Your Excellency Tiziana Bunapace, Director of Information and Communication Technology and Dissemination Reduction Division at the UNSCAP, my colleague in Bangkok. Distinguished speakers in today's webinar, especially Pak Putra Arsana from the World Bank, and then also Pak Purnagunawan of the TNP2K, and also the distinguished discussion of the webinars. First of all, Ibu Fitria of the Bank of Indonesia, Pak Yose Rizal of the CSIS, Pak Aldi of the Aftech, and of course Ibu Deni Purbasari of the Kartu Prakerja. And of course, the host of this meeting, Ibu Frida. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the World Bank, G2PX, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and also Hartarto Foundation for their support of the ongoing study that we would like to discuss today. Also, the PMO team of Kartu Prakerja under Ibu Deni, for the support in providing the required information and data for this study. And in a wider context for the collaboration, actually, we have been establishing to improve Kartu Prakerja to promote evidence-based policy making. The government of Indonesia actually has been committed to improve the delivery mechanism of social assistance and subsidy programs. Evaluation of distribution strategies and methodology of various programs has been carried out to provide optimal contribution of the poverty reduction, including the extreme poverty acceleration, the reduction, while also improving financial inclusion. TNP2K, as the government policy think tank, has been advocating the reform for many social assistance programs, especially on transforming program delivery mechanisms, including the government to persons or G2P payment system or mechanism. Since 2012, 10P2K has been conducting or involved in many studies that evaluate the disbursement of social assistance and subsidy to household, as well as that pilot the different disbursement mechanism and technology. There are several examples of successful evidence-based policy advocation that have been done by 10P2K. Firstly, the transformation of Raskin or Rastra or Beras Sejahtera, National Food Assistance Program from in-kind delivery to using an e-wallet on a bank account into the Bantuan Pangan Non-Tunai or BPNT or Kartu Sembako, what we call Kartu Sembako, or what we call the food voucher programs. And then secondly is disbursement of the Family Hope Program, or known as PKH or Program Keluarga Sejahtera, Keluarga Harapan, a conditional cash transfer program to the mother or eldest woman bank account instead of the head of the family account. And then thirdly is the usage of the basic serving account for disbursing the what we call the program Indonesia Pintar or PIP program, an education assistance program for school-age children from the poor families. Nevertheless, even though significant improvement has been done, there is always room for improvement. Based on the series of monitoring and evaluation done by 10P2Ks and also already written in the policy paper of the 10P2Ks on modernization of government to person or G2P through financial technology or fintech in Indonesia, stated that the current G2P disbursement mechanism has several limitations, such as firstly, of course, the case of the undistributed bank account cards due to difficulty in locating the names and also addresses of the beneficiaries. Secondly, location of the ATM, automatic teller machine or access point that is quite far from the beneficiaries, which incurs in high transportation costs. Thirdly, dependency on facilitators or companion in disbursing the social assistance fund due to low financial literacy skills. And then finally, limitation in telecommunication technology access. Furthermore, development in digital technology, especially financial technology or fintech, offers options for improvements in delivering G2P to be more efficient and more effective in terms of the ease of the use, the cost, and also the time. In the last 10 years, 10P2K has done a series of pilot studies on the usage of fintech in social assistance disbursement. The studies have shown that the utilization of fintech can play a big role in the expansion of the G2P disbursement, especially during the and after the COVID-19 pandemics. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, of course, we know that the COVID pandemic has brought challenges and opportunities for implementing social assistance responses, especially related to G2P payment system and mechanism. The pandemic provides lessons that massive delivery of the government support during mobility restriction can be done quickly if people have access to financial system. However, data limitation and low level of financial inclusion among newly poor and those who were heavily affected by the pandemic, limiting the government's option to quickly disburse the social assistance. On the other hand, the delivery of the government support can also create opportunities to bring more people into financial services as they have to create new account to access the support. In addition, government officials and health practitioners' encouragement to use cashless and contactless modes of payment to reduce the risk of virus spread through the handling of cash also create new opportunities for potential adoption of digital financial services or DFS. Nevertheless, there is still not enough evidence on how the pandemic affects the current G2P implementation and how it affects beneficiaries' experience. This is also the main reason for the collaboration of the 10P2K and the World Bank. Thank you, Bu Satu, in doing this study, which covers 3 main social assistance programs during pandemic. Firstly, is a program Keluarga Harapan, or the PKH, that covers around 10 million poorest families in Indonesia. The second one is the Kartu Sembako program for about 18.8 million poorest family beneficiaries And finally, the Kartu Prakerja program under Bu Deni, a competency development program training program that has been complemented actually by cash transfer. And by the time the study was done, has covered about 5.5 million beneficiaries. The PMO of Kartu Prakerja, the Bu Deni, has done very well actually in managing these challenges and opportunities. Ladies and gentlemen, although today's webinar only focuses on the Kartu Prakerja program, we hope that we can still learn from a lot of the implementation of this new program during the pandemic. Innovation from the Kartu Prakerja program, for instance, that use an integrated ecosystem with end-to-end digital implementation and multi-channel government-to-person payment might show concrete evidence on how digital and financial technology affect the efficiency and the effectiveness of the program, but also improve the experience and financial inclusion of the beneficiaries. In the initial findings shows that the satisfaction rate of the Kartu Prakerja's beneficiaries is highly and mainly driven by either their intrinsic motivation or post-training incentives to complete the training. In addition, the use of the e-money as one of multi-channel G2P payment choice distributed positively actually to financial inclusion goals. Nevertheless, to fully understand the full price and lesson learned from the COVID-19 large-scale and rapidly changing circumstances for the improvement of the G2P payment system, we still need the complete result of this big study. 10P2K believes that solid evidence not only distinguishes between good and bad policies, but also act as a guide to choosing the best policy from alternative policies that exist amid various obstacles. And finally, 10P2K also views that the strong evidence can various backgrounds in determining policy choice. I hope from today's webinar, we can learn many lessons from each other on how we could improve the implementation of the G2P payment mechanism and promote financial inclusion further. May we all have a fruitful discussion. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Back to Bu Frida. Thank you, Bu.
Waalaikumsalam. Mr. Suprayoga, Hadi, thank you so much for the opening remarks. And now we are going to hear opening remarks from World Bank Country Director for Indonesia and Timor-Leste, Madam Satu Kähkönen. Good morning, Madam Satu Kähkönen. How are you today?
Good morning, Ibu Frida. I'm very good.
Okay. And allow me to also introduce Madam Kähkönen, who has joined the position as World Bank Country Director for Indonesia and Timor-Leste in February 2020. Madam Kähkönen holds a PhD in economics from the University of Pennsylvania, where she studied as a Fulbright scholar. And dear Madam Kähkönen, the screen is yours.
Selamat pagi to all. And Your Excellency, Bapak Airlangga Hartarto, Coordinating Minister for Economic Affairs, Bapak Suprayoga Hadi, Executive Secretary of the National Team for Poverty Alleviation, Acceleration, Ibu Ticiana Ponapace, Director for Information and Communication Technology and Disaster Risk Reduction in the Division of United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific. And all distinguished panelists, ladies and gentlemen, it's my great pleasure to welcome you all to this event on Kartu Prakerja on behalf of the World Bank. I would like to extend at the beginning our appreciation to the Coordinating Ministry for Economic Affairs for organization of this event. We very much welcome this opportunity to present World Bank analysis on Kartu Prakerja's contribution to digital transformation and financial inclusion in Indonesia. I also would like to very much thank the National Team for Poverty Alleviation and specifically Bapak Suprayoga Hadi for their close and excellent collaboration on this joint study. And further, let me extend thanks to our to our partners, to the G2PX initiative, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, as well as the Tanota Foundation for their support. Now, as mentioned by Baba Suprayoga, the COVID pandemic has highlighted the importance of the social assistance delivery system in ensuring that the poor and vulnerable get the needed support, in particular during the crisis situations. And one key element of such a delivery system is a government-to-person, or in short, G2P payment system that can deliver assistance to families and individuals in a safe, secure, and efficient manner. And we very much welcome government's continued efforts to advance the G2P payment system in social assistance. And this switch is involving switching from cash and in-kind assistance to bank account transfers. And this has been done in PKH and in Sembako programs. And it also involves working towards a payment system that is centered on recipients of assistance. This kind of an approach, focusing on beneficiaries, has been adopted also by other countries, such as India and Bangladesh. So Indonesia is not alone. This is something that's happening now internationally. And the study that we are presenting to you today focuses on the experience of Kartu Prakerja only. Kartu Prakerja is the first active labor market policy and social assistance program in Indonesia that has implemented a beneficiary-centric G2P payment system. So this is something very innovative. And this makes a good case study in 3 ways. First, it allows to assess how well the social assistance system has responded to the pandemic. Second, it allows to assess to what extent this response has met the needs of users. And third, it allows us to understand the experience so far with the G2P payment system. And let me highlight 3 key results coming from this study that we are going to talk today. The first result is that it is important to offer a menu of bank account options to providers to ease the access. Now, Kartu Prakerja's planned expansion of bank account provider option is expected to increase bank account use. The second result is that the majority of users tend to cash their social assistance payments immediately. So therefore, there is a need to encourage the switch to digital payments, which might basically delay full withdrawals a little bit. The third result is that the study indicates that there is a scope to promote financial inclusion by providing tailored financial literacy programs for users of G2P payments. Now, we hope that these results and this study will help government further develop the Kartu Prakerja program. We look forward to our continued collaboration with the government to strengthen the social assistance delivery in Indonesia. Digitalized payment systems will not only strengthen the transparency and efficiency of social assistance delivery, but they will also benefit Indonesia in the long run. I hope you all enjoy the event. Terima kasih banyak.
Terima kasih kembali, Madam Satu Kähkönen. Thank you for the opening speech. And now we will proceed to our webinar, begun by a keynote speech from His Excellency Airlangga Hartarto, the Coordinating Minister for Economic Affairs of the Republic of Indonesia. His Excellency Airlangga Hartarto completed his Master of Management Technology in Melbourne Business School of University of Melbourne, Australia. He has received several awards, including the President of the Republic of Indonesia Award, Bintang Maha Putra Adi Pradana in 2020, and the Doctor Honoris Causa in Development Policy from the KDI School of Public Policy and Management, South Korea in 2019. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome His Excellency Airlangga Hartarto.
The Honorable Madam Satu Kähkönen, World Bank Country Director for Indonesia and Timor-Leste. Honorable Mr. Suprayoga, Executive Secretary, National Team for Acceleration of Poverty Reduction. Ms. Tiziana Bonapace, Director, Information and Communication Technology and Disaster Risk Reduction, ESCAP. Madam Filianingsih Hendarta, Assistant Governor from Bank of Indonesia. Jose Rizal Damuri, Executive Director CSIS. Mr. Aldi Haryo Pratomo, Vice Chairman of Fintech Association. Ibu Deni Puspa Purbasari, Executive Director PMO Kartu Prakerja. And TNP 2K and World Bank Research Team, and guests and media representative. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I would like to first extend my gratitude to the speakers and guests who kindly taken a moment of their time to be here in this webinar titled Kartu Prakerja, Indonesia Digital Transformation and Financial Inclusion Breakthrough. I would like also to thank the Project Management Office of Kartu Prakerja, who has facilitated the TNP 2K and World Bank Research Team in conducting their research and ensuring that this webinar is presented by the best experts in their field. And finally, I would like to thank the TNP 2K and World Bank Research Team who have been working so hard in the past year conducting this program, Kartu Prakerja Research. Ladies and gentlemen, the Kartu Prakerja program has been researched by various independent parties before this joint study between TNP 2K and World Bank. GPAL, SEA, and Precisi had previously disseminated their research findings. Each concluded that this program is beneficial in the sense that it has been proven to be effective in improving learning, employability, entrepreneurship, earning, purchasing power, and financial inclusion. The study conducted by Precisi, supported by the Fiscal Policy Agency and the Fiscal Policy Agency UNDP and the government of Japan, has found scientific evidence that female beneficiary who live outside of Java and beneficiary who are high school graduates or higher and living in the urban area have been very much helped by the Kartu Prakerja program. Kartu Prakerja is a success story of the government of Republik Indonesia in transforming the public service. The digital technology and the innovative ways usually done by startup are implemented in Kartu Prakerja. At first, President Joko Widodo has built a SkyToll, which led to fast extension of cell phone use and helped the information technology and industry to grow significantly. Kartu Prakerja leveraged this development. The partnership-based learning ecosystem in Kartu Prakerja is then built with hundreds of stakeholders involved. Today, hundreds of stakeholders are connected through the ecosystem, and more than 12 million Kartu Prakerja beneficiaries in 514 cities, Region C have been able to apply, join training courses, receive certificates, and look for job opportunity and apply for job 100% online without the limitation of time and space. Beyond that, the Kartu Prakerja offers so much more to the people. Post-training incentive that have been disbursed through banks and fintech firms. Beneficiary can choose their own payment channel from BNI, BCA, Link Aja, OVO, GoPay, or Dana. Prakerja is the pioneer of G2P payment that utilize fintech. This is one way of Kartu Prakerja has played its part in accelerating the financial inclusion. With its scientific proven support in adult learning, women empowerment, financial inclusion, the inequality reduction, unemployment, and multi-stakeholder partnership, the Kartu Prakerja program has received acclaim from ADB, UNDP, UNESCO, and other research entities. The Kartu Prakerja program has truly been breakthrough in Indonesia digital transformation and financially inclusion. Nevertheless, we are aware that there is more network to be done to perfect the Kartu Prakerja program. Therefore, we are sincerely hoping for further support from our partners, Bank Indonesia, United Nations, and the World Bank. Indonesia minister and institutions, as well as regional government, universities, NGOs, AFTEC, and other stakeholders, including the media. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Coordinating Minister for Economic Affairs, Mr. Airlangga Hartarto, and I would also like to once again thank Mr. Suprayoga Hadi and also Madam Satu Kähkönen for joining us and giving remarkable opening remarks. Thank you so much. Unfortunately, due to other commitments, His Excellency Airlangga Hartarto, Madam Satu Kähkönen, and Mr. Suprayoga Hadi will be leaving earlier. But once again, thank you for the greetings and all members of the respective institutions. Moving forward, ladies and gentlemen, to better grasp our topic of discussion, I want to share some knowledge about Kartu Prakerja. Kartu Prakerja is the first government program in Indonesia to implement customer-centric government-to-person or G2P payments by enabling its beneficiaries to choose the most suitable bank or e-money account to receive their incentives. Kartu Prakerja program also uses an end-to-end digital process from onboarding to incentive payment, resulting with a large-scale G2P payment in a fast and transparent manner. The impacts of Kartu Prakerja has been evaluated by JPAL Southeast Asia and Presisi Indonesia in 2021. From those studies, Kartu Prakerja beneficiaries are proven to gain improvement in capacities, both in work and entrepreneurship skills, compared to those who did not take part in the program. Research also mentioned that Kartu Prakerja also bring positive impacts on supporting financial inclusion, especially through the increase in bank or e-money accounts ownership. The World Bank and TNP2K study on social assistance implementation and G2P payment mechanisms further explore Kartu Prakerja's experience in implementing an innovative G2P payment system. Indeed, what are the G2P payment innovations of Kartu Prakerja? Are they received well by the beneficiaries? Does Kartu Prakerja really become a breakthrough in Indonesia's digital transformation and financial inclusion? We will begin to find the answers by listening to the study results presentation from our two researchers, Mr. Raden Muhamad Purnagunawan and Mr. Gede Putra Arsana. Raden Muhamad Purnagunawan is the Economic Improvement Policy Team Leader at TNP2K. He holds a PhD in economics from the Australian National University. His research interest is in the area of labor economics, industry, and poverty. Meanwhile, Pak Gede Putra Arsana is a senior financial sector specialist from the World Bank Group, Jakarta. He's been leading the implementation of financial inclusion portfolio in Indonesia, which covers the area of national strategy, SME finance, credit reporting, payment system, consumer protection, and financial literacy. Hello, gentlemen. Thank you so much. How are you doing this morning?
Great.
Ready to give some insights to our viewers, of course.
Yes, for sure. Sure.
Okay, and we are really excited to learn more about the study. But before continuing, I would like to remind everyone that we will have a Q&A session at the end of the webinar. For those who have questions, please send the questions directly to the admin in the chat box. Don't forget to put down your name, institution, and also to whom the question is addressed. And please make sure you are attending this webinar until the end, because we will be giving certificates for those who attended the whole event. All right, ladies and gentlemen, during the next 45 minutes, please put your best attention to our researchers. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mbak Frida. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good morning to for all of you. Okay, so Your Excellency, Bapak Airlangga Hartarto, Coordinating Minister for Economic Affairs, Republik Indonesia. Your Excellency, Ibu Satu Kähkönen, World Bank Country Director for Indonesia and Timor-Leste. Your Excellency, Tiziana Bonapase from UNSCAP, my colleague, Pak Putra from World Bank. Distinguished discussion for today webinar. Bu Fitria from Bank Indonesia, Pak Jose Rizal from CSIS, Pak Aldi from Aftek, and Bu Deni from Prakerja. Ladies and gentlemen, participants of this webinar, many thanks for attending this webinar. Today we are going to discuss about Kartu Prakerja, Indonesia Digital Transformation and Financial Inclusion Breakthrough. Next, please. So this study is a joint research between TNP2K and the World Bank. And we are very grateful to have supported by the G2PX initiative and Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and also Tanoto Foundation. Next, please. This is our team, quite a big team. We have 2 from TNP2K and 7 from the World Bank. Next, please. So, as previously mentioned, this study is the ongoing study, part from a bigger study that actually tried to learn the implementation of the COVID-19 social assistance responses and understanding the adequacy of responses in the meeting of the beneficiaries' needs. Right. This is based on 3 major 3 flagship programs in the social assistance in Indonesia, which is the PKH, program sembako, and also the Kartu Prakerja. But for today's seminars, we are going to focus on the Kartu Prakerja because the 2 other studies, the PKH and program sembako, is still ongoing. Next, please. So the Kartu Prakerja is launched in April 2020. This is the first active labor market policy programs and bundled with the social assistance programs in Indonesia, which applied end-to-end digital implementation and recipient-centric G2P payment mechanism, what we call G2P 3.0, right? Where the beneficiaries can choose over multiple channels of payment. So in this case, we have a bank account and also the e-money account. So, and for this Kartu Prakerja, everybody above age 18 and above is eligible to register, except for those in the blacklist, which is those already or actually enrolled in school now. Those who are civil servant, military or police personnel, village official, state-owned enterprise staff, and those currently receiving the social assistance during the COVID. Next, please. So the journey of Prakerja beneficiaries begin with the online registrations, right? And followed by some document verifications, and they have to go through simple competency and motivation tests. If selected, the beneficiaries will receive the training vouchers transferred to their virtual account that can be used to purchase the trainings in the Prakerja ecosystem. Right. For those who didn't select it in the programs, they can always try to apply for the next batch. Right. So after the beneficiaries actually finish the first training, they can receive the post-training cash transfers, right, by linking the e-money or banking account first to their Prakerja account, right? And after all this process finished, the beneficiaries has to also fill the evaluation survey after the programs. Next, please. So this is what the Prakerja dashboard looks like. It provides the newest update regarding the programs, trainings, and even when the next cash transfer will be available after they finish their first training. So this is one of the innovation from the Kartu Prakerja. Next, please. So I'm gonna through the key messages for all the talk that we are going to discuss today. First is that 9 of 10 respondents actually had completed Kartu Prakerja program from the selection until receiving the post-training processes. And the second is that the majority of the respondents were satisfied with their first Kartu Prakerja trainings and were driven by their intrinsic motivation and or post-training incentive to complete their first training. The use of e-money as one of the payment methods contributed positively to financial inclusion goals. Fourth, most beneficiaries immediately cash out their incentive after receiving in their accounts. Majority of the respondents actually use the incentive to purchase food or use it for their working capitals. Expansion of bank account provide option to receive exposed training incentive will increase bank account use. The inclusion of one private bank early this year is a welcome addition to this notion. So first, I'm going to discuss about how the study is conducted. Next, please. Next, please. So the study of the Kartu Prakerja is combine both quantitative and qualitative approach. The quantitative approach is used using the phone survey conducted by Surveymeter around October 2021 to 1,000 beneficiaries of Prakerja over 25 provinces in Indonesia. So, and we have selected actually only beneficiaries enrolled in batch 7 or 11, which is between September until November 2020. In addition, there is also in-depth interview, FGD, with this program owner, payment system providers, and also the beneficiaries. Next, please. So the sample selection actually represent the characteristic of Prakerja beneficiaries. They are quite balanced in the gender, mostly youth under 40 and relatively have higher education. This is actually higher than the average years of schooling of Indonesian citizens. And distributed across batches that we actually see. Next, please. So, although the Prakerja is actually the open programs, which is open for everybody above who's age 18 and above, the Prakerja actually can reach those 40% of below the poorest household in Indonesia. So, 44% beneficiaries actually are in the bottom 40% of households. So, although it is an end-to-end digital ecosystem, those from poor family can still access and gain benefit from these Kartu Prakerja programs. Most of the Kartu Prakerja beneficiaries are now working, and we have quite balance between wage workers and also those who actually become entrepreneurs or self-employed. And mainly, they are actually working in the service sectors. Next, please. Next, please. So, among those actually selected in the sample, right, 95.7% actually purchased the first training within 30 days. Those who doesn't purchase any trainings at all actually been canceled their beneficiaries entitlements, and the money actually can be used for the next batch. So it's not wasted at all, right? So to get the cash transfer, the beneficiaries need to actually finish first training in the systems, and then they have also to link the e-money or banking account to the Prakerja dashboard that they have. And for those who actually purchase the first trainings, 94.9% actually finish all the journey and receive the post-training incentive. Next, please. So from our respondent, we found out that they didn't report any hurdles in registering the programs and purchasing the trainings. Right, most of them hear it from word of mouth, from friends, families, and so on and so forth. The one thing that actually quite interesting in here is that prior to receiving the Prakerja programs, 83.1% of the beneficiaries actually claim that they never attended any training at all, both online or offline. So this is actually also emphasize the need of trainings for the Indonesian citizen. We know that for the formal trainings, we have a lot of scholarships and so on and so forth, but for the training it's quite limited. And this is also one thing that the government of Indonesia give the access opportunity to all Indonesian peoples. Next, please. Next, please. So the training that provided in the Prakerja system is quite wide in the terms of the variety. Almost 1,000 trainings, quality trainings with 4.5 stars more in their gradings, offered by 172 training institutions in 6 digital platforms, 4 job platforms, and 8 education institutions, and also involved in this Kartu Prakerja ecosystem. Okay, next, please. So, what about the characteristic of the first training that the Prakerja beneficiaries actually have? Most of them are actually related with their employment sectors, right? Although we see that quite balance between the wage workers and the self-employed, actually more than 66.4% of those trainings related with the entrepreneurships, right? If we look at the classification based on the employment sectors, it's more on the services sector, trades, accommodation, food, and beverage. And then for the training itself, it's mostly on the business and management and also the ICT. Next. This is some stories that we get from the Kartu Prakerja beneficiaries. Right? Ibu Musdania is a good example of how Kartu Prakerja give a positive contribution in skilling process of its recipient. She's a housewife with 2 sons. Her husband actually get their wage cut, so there is a push for her to add to contribute for the family income. So she decided to enroll in Kartu Prakerja, and she tried to finish the first trainings, but after that she still find to other trainings that actually related with what she need. So she took a pastry making trainings and started the business where she can sell cakes and sweet martabaks. So the money that the cash transfer that she get from the Kartu Prakerja is being used for the capitals for starting up the business, and now she can earn around 50 to 200,000 rupiah per day. So it's quite a big increase for the family. The other cases is Ibu Feni Nabona. She can be considered a good example on how Kartu Prakerja can contribute to upskilling process of its recipients. She is a teacher in private junior high school in Sumba Barat Daya in NTT. So she enrolled in Kartu Prakerja in September 2020 and managed to complete 3 courses in the Kartu Prakerja. And she tried to find the courses that related with her job, which is how to actually build a curriculum for the students. So because of these courses, it is significantly improve her skill. and then also contributed to her career promotions. So she became the vice principal on the curriculum development. And the other thing that also good is that the courses certificate from the Kartu Prakerja is actually acknowledged by the Ministry of Education as a supporting document for these teacher certifications. Next, please. The next journey that the recipient has to come is to get the incentive of the post-training programs, right? So they have to link the bank account or e-money account to the Prakerja accounts. So they have to verify, do the eKYC processes to completely do this process, right? Then the beneficiaries can choose one of the 5 channels that can be used to transfer the cash transfer, which is the bank account and also 4 from the e-money accounts. And now we have another private banking joining the Prakerja ecosystem, so they now have 2 banks. Next, please. So most of the Prakerja beneficiaries actually can successfully link their bank account to the Prakerja account. Those who cannot do it, mainly due to the technical problems, poor signal or internet access, failed phone number verification, ID verification is one of the major hurdles for doing it. But they can get help from the friends and family, and then successfully register or link their bank account or e-money account to the Prakerja account. So next, for the payment mechanism and the rest of this discussion, Pak Putra will continue. Please,
Thank
Pak
you,
Putra.
Muhamad. So in my presentations, it will focus primarily on the payment aspects of this study and also on the impact to the financial inclusions. So maybe we can go to the next slide, please. So G2P payments mechanisms has gone a long way in the development of each countries. So normally it started from the cash delivery mechanism systems, and then it goes through account-based systems, and then finally the current trend, which is basically providing beneficiaries choice to the beneficiaries. So what is really important when we're talking about the recipient-centric G2P payments mechanisms, there are 2 elements basically. From the demand side, the beneficiaries basically has the ability to choose the types of accounts, whether that's going to be a bank account or e-money account, the types of instruments, whether that's going to be a debit card or a mobile money instruments. And then on the other hand, if we're looking from the supplier sides, normally different programs will use the same infrastructures. Either that's going to be ID infrastructures or a payment system infrastructures. Now, if we're looking from the examples of other countries, we see India, Tanzania, Zambia, and Bangladesh that pioneers this development. Within the regions, there's Thailand and also Philippines. Now, if we can just move to the next slides, please. In Indonesia itself, Prakerja is probably the first programs that implement this G2P recipient-centric models, because it focused probably in providing the beneficiary choice to the beneficiaries. It allows to use the end-to-end digital payments mechanisms, meaning from the onboarding process up to the utilizations of the benefits, everything is digital. And then it promotes the provider competitions, because you have more than just one providers, whether that's bank non-bank, state-owned or non-state-owned providers. Now this brings benefits not just to the beneficiaries, but also to the payment system providers and program owner as a whole, because some of those could be an easier or simpler onboarding process that promotes a more non-cash transactions, which leads to additional benefits in terms of financial inclusion reach and potentials. Going to the next slide, please. Now, as I mentioned before, the introductions of e-money as one of the account options in Kartu Prakerja brings a lot of positivity. One of those, if you compare between the ownerships of e-money and a bank account, most recipients use e-money accounts, which is close to 80%. And then the reasons for doing this is because opening an e-money account is much simpler compared to a bank account. Now, if we're looking from the financial inclusion angles, you see that the first timers of e-money account user is much larger compared to the first timers of bank account users, which is 50% versus 9%. Next slide, please. Now, in terms of the satisfactions in using the cashless payment method, I mean, in general, it's very high at the level of 96%. And many of these respondents basically saying this because the speed of incentive disbursement is really fast. So since everything is doing digitally, once they completed the training, once they completed the survey, they will receive the incentive disbursement immediately. And when compare this with the options that is available to the beneficiary in terms of the account, they considered this is varied enough, because 90% of the beneficiaries thinks that the options, either the bank or e-money account providers, is quite varied. Next slide, please. But if given some opportunities, particularly if we're looking at the 37% of the e-money users and the 22% of the bank account users, they will prefer to use their existing bank account if that is feasible, because the current bank account that they own is not available in terms of the list of options. Next slide, please. I'm going to go through some of the examples and the findings on the incentive use and disbursements. Next slide, please. Now, in terms of like the incentive coming to the beneficiary, almost like everyone received the incentive from the post-training programs. 96% of them cash out the incentive entirely. There are two reasons for this. From the supply side conditions, the main issue is because of the digital ecosystem is not fully and readily available within the whole part of Indonesia, particularly in the rural areas. So even though they have the instruments or the ability to transact electronically, but if this is not accepted within these surroundings, then it's going to be difficult. Now, the second one is related to the main account that they already have. So if they already have a main bank account, normally what they will do would be just to transfer the amount of the incentive directly to that main account, and then use that main account instead of the Prakerja account dedicated to use for the transaction account. The other part is also related to trust and confidence related to the DFS that I will discuss later in the following slides. But if we compare the potentials between the e-money users and the bank account users, there's a higher potential for the e-money users to do cashless transactions, because as you can see from the bar charts, it can be seen that the e-money users has less probability to cash out the incentive entirely compared to the bank account users. Next slide, please. Now, in terms of like cashing out incentive experience in general, it's relatively good, because 98% of beneficiaries doesn't receive any difficulties when cashing out the incentive. And then if we're counting in terms of like times, 85% of the beneficiaries only need like 15 minutes or less to cash out the money. And then if we compare between the e-money users and the bank account users, the e-money users actually spend less times than the bank account users to cash out the incentive. Now, on average, the cost that is being spent by the beneficiaries is around 11,500. But as before, in terms of like times, the e-money users spend less than the bank account users in terms of like transportation costs. Next slide, please. Now, in terms of like the adoptions and the potential adoptions, the young, male, highly educated beneficiaries has higher potential or higher probability to get into the non-cash ecosystems, because they don't cash out the incentive immediately, and then they have, I would say, the probability to leverage the potentials of the digital ecosystems moving forward. Next slide. Now, this is one of the interesting findings and also one of the interesting slides that I would like to go through. So in terms of like providing probability or the door to DFS, Kartu Prakerja is better than compared to the national average, because Kartu Prakerja beneficiaries provided higher access to DFS compared to the general populations. But that access doesn't immediately translate it into usage, because between the Prakerja users and also the normal populations, the number of usage on DFS is relatively the same. So one of the examples that we use is actually in terms of like online payments and online purchase. So Prakerja beneficiaries and the general populations do make online purchases, which is higher in terms of like the Prakerja beneficiaries. But in terms of like the payments mechanisms, most of these people in both categories use the cash on delivery. So there's still elements of lack of trust and then lack of confidence in using a DFS to settle the payments transactions, basically. Next slide. Incentive mainly used for food consumptions, working capital, and then the last one would be for bill payments. And then this is true across the gender balance. So either that's a men or women, they normally do the same thing. Next slide. Now, in reality, we provided some of the examples that we can provide here. There's two sides of the coins, as I mentioned before. So Muhamad, Dona, and Arif represent the digital users, while Dewi from Temanggung represents the cash-based user kind of like experience. Now, for Muhammad, Dona, and Arif, it's probably much easier for them because probably the ecosystem is ready. They have more confidence and trust towards DFS. So whenever they get the incentive, they just use it to top up the e-money, and then they do transactions electronically, either through the mobile apps or go to the merchants and pay it through QR. For Dewi, it's much more difficult because she has a business in basically selling popsicles, but all the materials that she needs to create these popsicles in the traditional markets only accept cash-based transactions. So in the end, she needs to cash out everything and do transactions primarily with cash. Next slide. So I'll go through some of the policy recommendations that's probably going to be much more relevant for the development of G2P payments in Indonesia. Let's go for the next slide. The first one is focusing on the lessons learned. What do we learn from the examples of Kartu Prakerja? Because as I mentioned before, we see the experience coming from the other countries when mentioning about the uses of G2P-centric models. But in here, in Indonesia, we already have a live examples coming from Kartu Prakerja. Kartu Prakerja use 100% end-to-end digital mechanisms, from onboarding to incentive payments. Kartu Prakerja enables beneficiaries to choose the most suitable transaction account or instruments that they can use and they prefer the most. And then the introductions of e-money as an account options, as mentioned before, brings a lot of benefits, particularly if we're focusing on the financial inclusion's impact. Now, one other interesting that we see from the Kartu Prakerja is the invitations to all interested PSP, whether that's state-owned or a private, whether that's a bank or a non-bank, to participate in Kartu Prakerja payments ecosystem. And all of these elements bring forth some positive contributions to the G2P payments implementations in general. Because as you can see from the satisfactions, the beneficiaries are satisfied. If you look at from the distribution's effectiveness, 99% of the beneficiaries receive the incentive on time. And then, but you can also see the potentials for financial inclusions in which better access to DFS is being provided by Kartu Prakerja. Next slide, please. But there are some elements of policy recommendations in which it can provide, if it's going to be provided further, it can improve the program, but also the financial inclusion policy in general. Now, the first one, of course, if we compare the number of bank provider options and the mobile money provider options, there's lesser number from the bank account. The additions of the BCA in this year is a welcome additions, but adding more options, given if the situations is provided or opportunity arise, it will provide more opportunities for the use of the bank account. Now, on the second and third part, basically it combines the options that I mentioned before. Prakerja provide a good opportunity to access of DFS, but this access is not being translated immediately to usage of DFS. So what can be improved further on this? The one is more on use cases options and encouragements, but this will require the support from other financial inclusion policymakers, the industry, to make sure that the digital ecosystem is ready, the merchant is ready in order to implement or use the DFS access that they already have. The second one is to build the trust and confidence toward the DFS. So, I mean, they have the access to DFS, but we want them to use it more. So that means we need to improve their literacy level, their awareness, their confidence. So it requires more elements of consumer protections, more elements of financial literacy, which I believe will require the support coming from the central bank, the OJK, CMEA, and other financial inclusion policymakers moving forward. Now, with the collaborations between the Prakerja program and the other financial inclusion policymakers, I would see that there's a potential of further support or positive impact to G2P payments and financial inclusion in general towards moving forward. Now, next slide. Okay, I think that's all from both of us. I hope that is going to be useful, and then we're happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for your comprehensive insight on Kartu Prakerja, Pak Raden Muhamad Purnagunawan, and also Pak Gede Putra Arsana. Thank you so much. The presentation itself has presented us with several interesting topics on digital transformation and financial inclusion. But surely there are still so many things to discuss, and we are happy to have with us 4 experts who will further discuss more points from the study findings. And allow me to introduce our discussants by reading their short bio. First, Executive Director of the Project Management Office of Kartu Prakerja, Madam Deni Puspa Purbasari, who is attending this webinar at the studio with me. Madam Deni has experience as Deputy for the Research and Development of Strategic Economic Issues at the Executive Office of the President of the Republic of Indonesia. She also has been a lecturer at the Faculty of Economics and Business, Universitas Gadjah Mada. And she already finished her PhD in economics at University of Colorado, Boulder, USA. Secondly, the Executive Director of Center for Strategic and International Studies, or CSIS Indonesia, Mr. Yose Rizal Damuri. Prior to this position, Mr. Yose was the steering committee in Indonesia FinTech Society, and he has completed his PhD of economics in the Graduate Institute of International Studies in Switzerland. Our third discussant is Vice Chairman II of Indonesian FinTech Association, or AFTEC, Mr. Aldi Haryo Pratomo, an Indonesian technology entrepreneur with a prolific career helping develop Indonesia's digital financial services sector. Mr. Aldi is now the board of Commissioner Halodoc, eFishery, and Mapan. And the fourth expert, lastly, Director of Payment System Policy Department, Madam Fitria Irmi Triswati. Madam Fitria joined Bank Indonesia since 1998, and during 24 years of her service, she nurtured her career mostly in the area of monetary and reserve management, especially in market surveillance and market analysis. Before we start, I would like to remind all participants that there will be Q&A session at the end of the discussion session. So please share your questions in English to the admin in the chat box. Please fill your name, institution, and the questions, and don't forget to whom the question is addressed. And for those who stay until the end, we will be giving out certificates. So I encourage all the participants to follow the webinar until the end. And I would like to address the first question to Madam Deni Puspa Purbasari. Hello, Ibu Deni. Thank you so much for being with us in the studio.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
What is your general response to the findings of World Bank and also TNP 2K study?
We are very happy, and first of all, I would like to congratulate to the researchers who already completed the research. I know that the research took so long to be completed, but you can see that the research is actually very rigorous and put a lot of attention to the details. So we are very happy to hear the results, and actually the results share a lot of similarities with the earlier research made by JPAL Southeast Asia and also Presisi Indonesia. And the results to some extent is already predicted because since 2020, we already engaged with a lot of survey institutions in order to do some checking, early checking about the implementation of Prakerja. For example, we are in collaboration with BPS and also CSIS, CERES Indonesia, etc., in order to do again a service, direct service, but independent to thousands of Indonesians who already been the participants of Prakerja program. And of course, it also, the results is actually tell us about the strength of science, namely the law of large numbers, because no matter what methodology, no matter what kind of samples that you are taking, as long as you take a number of samples large enough, then it will tell you about the population. So the consistency of the results between JPAL Southeast Asia, Presisi, and also the current research made by TNP2K and also the World Bank actually tells the strength of the science. And lastly, of course, even though the general findings are similar, but there are a lot of details, new insights that is being provided from this research. And I believe that we are very happy to basically convey and follow up the results findings.
Indeed, it was a very comprehensive presentation that these two gentlemen has given us earlier. Kartu Prakerja is the first social assistance program in Indonesia with end-to-end digital implementation and also recipient-centric government-to-person or G2P. Now, despite introducing this new way of disbursement, the study results show that 96.8% of Kartu Prakerja beneficiaries were able to link their bank e-money account to Kartu Prakerja account, indicating that people actually can accept this new technology. How did you come up with this idea to incorporate e-monies into the G2P system?
Yeah, first of all, I'm economist, so I believe that the principle of economics is more is better, more choices is better. So people actually can choose whatever they like based on their preference, and they actually can face the constraints and then again take into account to the decisions that they make. And the second thing, well, I read a lot of literature on the financial inclusions before I am sitting at CEO, as a CEO of PMO Prakerja. So from those literature said that actually bank is quite expensive in order to convey the mission of financial inclusion, because bank there are so many regulations, and the second thing, of course, there should be some physical presence. Of course, right now we have the growth of digital banking. This is in Indonesia right now is flourished significantly. So we are very happy to see the development, but we also see that so many Indonesians already have cell phones. It means that we can actually piggyback the digital infrastructure development that already been there. And then we just need to basically collaborate with the payment providers, the fintech, in order to basically serve the bottom of the pyramid. And lastly, of course, we know that, again, during the pandemic of COVID-19, there are so many closures. And also bank services at that time in 2020 and also during the Delta wave, what happened is that we saw some banking actually close their services. And also not only the banks, but also the public offices also closed. So in order to protect people and from the spread of the pandemic, the second thing, in order to serve them with an instrument that they can access at home. So that's why we are inviting and collaborating with fintech.
And what are the challenges that Kartu Prakerja had to face, and how did you tackle these challenges?
I think in the research I already mentioned that first of all is about trust, because well many people do not have experience working with cellular phone, and they feel more comfortable if they see people in the bank. They can talk with them instead of talking to the laptop or to the gadget. And the second thing is that as Pak Putra already mentioned, the issue of literacy, because well digital literacy requires literacy itself. So if people do not read the instructions and follow the instructions carefully, then what happens is that they will never get there. And then the third one, of course, cybercrime, because well development of internet, of course, is we are very happy to see that, but there are some fraudsters out there. And then they actually take advantage of people illiteracy. And there are some issues that we cannot tackle, like for example, lack of infrastructure and also digital ecosystem that is limited, especially in the remote areas where most of the transaction is actually cash basis. So, having fintech is actually having a limited benefit for the people. And how to tackle that? Well, on the issue of literacy, we have FAQ, we have a contact center that ready to help and assist our participants. The second thing, on the issue of trust, we only invite big players that already have a strong brand and also strong reputations in serving the market. And on the cybercrime, we actually, in the process, we force the participants to basically have the same ID, the same information, the same name, the same phone number as they registered in the system of Prakerja. If, such that, for example, if Frida is actually the participant of Prakerja, and then you register or using OVO, for example, under my name, then it will be rejected. So with this technology, we can actually make sure that everything is transparent and accurate, such that the money will go to the real beneficiaries instead of others.
Okay, very well. Kartu Prakerja, Bu, it gives its beneficiaries post-training incentives, 600,000 rupiah per monthly.
Yes.
And it happens for 4 months.
Yes.
All right, so the total will be 4 times 600,000.
Yes,
all right.
2.4.
2.4 million rupiah,
Yes.
yeah? And although Kartu Prakerja doesn't target a certain household decile, 44.1% of beneficiaries are in the poorest 40% households. How can Kartu Prakerja be able to reach all socioeconomic levels of all society in need?
Yeah, because we use end-to-end digital approach. So, the website is actually open 24/7. People can apply anytime, but then they just wait for the batch opening, and then just one click away to be registered, and then enrolled in the batch to be selected as the recipient. If, for example, the current batch they missed, it is only one click in order to re-register or rejoin to the next batch. So what happened here is the simplicity of the process is very important. That's why we are using the approach that commonly used by startups in order to make sure that the language, the words, the color, the representatives, etc., is actually fit with the targeted users. So we also learn from the data of the user how actually better serve them. The second thing, of course, because Prakerja is using on-demand application. It means that during the pandemic, there are so many people lost their job. They need money. They need also trainings. Especially there are so many high school graduates who cannot continue to the high level education because maybe lack of incomes from their parents. So what happened is that in order to make sure that they keep learning and get trained, then we open the access. So whoever needs, you just go to the website of www.prakerja.go.id and then apply.
How can those poor people have access to such internet, convenience? They have to go to warnet or?
Well, we have some surveys on that. Of course, we see that actually there are so many internet penetration is already there, because if we remember that in 2016, if I were not wrong, actually Mr. President pushed for what is that? Palaparing development in order to cover the whole area of Indonesia. So internet gradually basically penetrate all over Indonesia. And if we are talking about digital literacy among the poor, well, the study shows that actually many people, poor, non-poor, there are so many of them already have cell phones. And if we are talking about Wi-Fi, of course, maybe they need to purchase like 5,000 rupiah voucher in order to get the data package from internet provider, and then basically access Prakerja program. Well, my experience show that our monitoring show that it took only 20 minutes to register Prakerja. And then for the trainings, the maximum and the minimum is 6 hours. So I don't think that it will cost a lot in terms of internet voucher in order to access Prakerja.
All right. Now, Ibu Deni, since its launch in April 2020, Kartu Prakerja has carried out a double mission as part of the National Economic Recovery programs. And in the future, after the pandemic ends, is there a possibility for Kartu Prakerja to return to its main focus of improving work skills, and what kinds of planning have been prepared for that kind of change?
Yeah, on the policy side, it will be led by Coordinating Minister of Economic Affairs, Bapak Airlangga Hartarto. So we are actually waiting for the decision made by the committee led by Pak Airlangga. The second thing is that, well, in order to prepare toward the end of the pandemic, of course, we in our PMO preparing some offline and also blended trainings that fit to the market, what market needs. And then the third one, we are also approaching some big corporations that are not training providers because they are just, common manufacturing firms or agriculture firms, but we are approaching them in order to open doors for trainings for, Prakerja participants later when the normal mode of Prakerja is started. And we are also trying to improve the system, because with the existence of offline trainings, the challenges, will be even more. We have to make sure that the participants actually attend section by section, and also the instructor is actually the same. There is no, change in the schedule or the location of the trainings.
And the cost is also bigger.
Exactly. That's why we need the decision made by Pak Airlangga in order to basically, how much, when, where, etc., and how do we start, in what field that we are prioritizing, etc., etc. So that's basically still in the making, in the process.
And one last question to Ibu Deni, with the various services that have been provided so far, are there any new innovations that we will see being carried out in the future?
I think it's better we are waiting because I'm afraid to say out loud in front of the public, and then because we want to build credibility. We do what we say, and then we say what we do. Okay. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Because I don't want to add more pressure to the engineers back there.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ibu Deni Puspa Purbasari, for your valuable answers.
My pleasure.
To us, even though the last question is still confidential. The last answer is still confidential. Yeah. Thank you, Ibu Deni. And now I would like to move on to the second discussant, the second expert that we have. He's joining us through Zoom, and I would like to say hello to Pak Mr. Yose Rizal Damuri. Pak Yose Rizal Damuri, thank you so much for joining us, Pak.
Yeah. Good morning. Morning, everybody. Morning, Bu Deni, Pak Wawan, and Pak Gede. Pak Gede Arsana.
Okay. I'll go to Mr. Yose first. What is your general response to the findings of World Bank and also T and P2K study, Pak Yose?
Well, I think this study is really timely, as Bu Denny also already mentions that we have a series of study basically that look at um, Kartu Prakerja, especially from the point of view of effectiveness of the program. So now it's about time actually to also look at the from different perspective. Since this is the first programs with the using G2P digital payment mechanisms, I think we can get a lot of insights, not only on the Kartu Prakerja, not only on the social assistance using the G2P digital payment, but also on the digital payment itself and how the digital payment actually can be used to strengthen, to promote other programs. Like for example, so we can find a lot of interesting finding from the study. For example, it's quite interesting to see there are quite many actually the Kartu Prakerja recipients that do not really have e-money or e-money account. Almost 50% was the first timer for e-money accounts and also almost 9% actually first timer to open the bank account. So from that findings we can have some indications on how the financial inclusions is still we already have some progress on financial inclusion process, but we also still need to do more. And the introductions of Kartu Prakerja, especially its initiative in using G2P digital payment mechanisms, actually can help a lot on financial inclusion aspects. And there are also many other interesting findings that we can see from this study and can also benefit for us in looking at to promote and to support social assistance using this digital payment in addition to the big pictures of digital payment itself.
Okay. Pak Yose, Kartu Prakerja also transformed the social assistance mechanism, and for instance, for those who already received the assistance are not eligible as beneficiaries, and there is the data exchange with other ministries to double check and also verify the identity of applicants. How do you respond to that about the changes towards the limitation of assistance budget in Indonesia?
Yeah, I think this is one of the beauty that the digital payment can offer on the social assistance. Basically, what we've seen so far from the study itself, that the benefit and also from what has been happening during the Kartu Prakerja implementation is that the benefit actually not only comes to the beneficiaries, not only come to the fall to the recipients, but also it can help the program owner on giving providing a lot of necessary informations. Like for examples, with the digital payment mechanisms and also digital technology in general, the data can be used from other sources to verify the recipients of the social assistance. So that the program owner, a social assistant program owner, can target, can have a better target for recipients. This can be improved even more if we can have some kind of data exchange from different programs and from different sources, like from the KYC of the banks, the banking system, for example, or other data sources such as the Jaminan Kesehatan Nasional, Jaminan Kesejahteraan Nasional (JKN) that also already have a really rich and huge data sets on the potential recipients and many other data set. So that kind of the use of digital digital technology, including also the digital payment mechanisms, can also benefit the program owner, especially in verifying the recipients. That also can prevent duplications of at the receiving end, duplications of the recipients. We've seen that in many cases there are many recipients actually are eligible to several programs, and with the use of the digital technology, especially the data supported by data from different sources, it can be used to better targeting. In addition, the program owner can also use this technology and these systems to monitor the effectiveness of the social assistance program. So in the end, I believe that digital payment mechanisms together with other digital ecosystems can offer a lot on the social assistance programs in Indonesia in the future.
Nah, Pak Yose, what kind of innovations do you think that the government still need to implement for improving the G2P payment efficiency that's been going on right now?
Well, talking about the innovations, I think the first important aspect is not innovation itself. The first important aspect is the political will to use or to accept this digital technology, including digital payment systems, to be one of the alternative, as Ibu Deni mentions. It also to provide more options for the recipients, and also to provide less costly options to the recipients. While on the other, while in addition, we also get the benefit of provide benefits for the program owner. So before we're talking about the innovations, I think we still need to talk about political will. Like for example, the Kartu Prakerja is a breakthrough for other social assistance programs in using this G2P digital payment. But on the other hand, we've seen also there are many programs that hasn't really used intensively, optimally this kind of digital technology that can provide and cannot really reap the benefits optimally.
Okay.
So that's the first point that we still need to look at and to discuss before going on. Of course, the digital. I think the innovations. Mas Aldi here perhaps it's in better positions than me to talk about the innovations in the digital payment systems, and I believe that the associations also already have a lot of great ideas in order to improve that.
Political will, yeah, Pak Yose, is the key. And do you see Kartu Prakerja's innovation answering the problems already based on the study findings? Do you think Kartu Prakerja is answering?
Yeah, for sure. Since this is the first ones that use the G2P digital payment, it provides a lot of evidence, a lot of examples on how the recipients actually can reap a lot of benefits from the use of digital payment systems. And I believe most of the interesting findings that the teams already provide can be used even more to improve the systems or improve the the ecosystems that we need in order to make the social assistance better in Indonesia.
Okay, thank you so much, Pak Yose Rizal Damuri, for the insights. And moving on from Mr. Yose, we have two more experts that will share their insights. But first, I would like to go to Mr. Aldi Haryo Pratomo. When we're talking about Kartu Prakerja, some interesting points are related to its collaboration with state-owned and also private banks and fintechs, and the policy recommendations of the study is also related to that collaboration. It would be beneficial for us to also discuss this from the point of view of fintech, and to help us provide that insights, I would like to say hello and greet Mr. Aldi Haryo Pratomo. Pak Aldi, welcome to this webinar. We're very happy to have you.
Thanks for having me.
What is your general response to the findings of World Bank and also TNP2K study, Pak Aldi?
Yeah, I think one, it was wonderful to actually see real deep research done on the sector, because we see the data from each of our companies, but actually seeing it holistically and seeing the impact was really interesting. I think there's two main points that I thought was really insightful. One is we really found in the industry that the Prakerja program really accelerated the number of users, the quantity of fintech users in Indonesia. I mean, generally at AFTEC, one of our goals is how do we get financial inclusion for 100% of Indonesians? And one of the challenges that we find in innovation is there's usually this segment of early adopters, which are usually the young, affluent, more urban users who adopt the technology. And then when you try to get to the more lower income, poorer households, it becomes very difficult. And what the Prakerja system did was it actually enabled the entire industry to collaborate to target these users. And as you saw in the study, the numbers today was 44% was amongst the 40 poorest households, which I thought was amazing. And it provides a real foundation for e-money players and other fintechs and even other financial technology companies to then grow and adopt and target these users, right? I think about half of the users were first-time e-money users, which I thought was a really good mark of a successful adoption for a program, because adopting e-money is not something that's simple for people who've never had a bank account. And I think this enabled that adoption to happen much faster, right? The second thing that happened was it actually increased the quality of users. I think it was mentioned earlier that the phone number has to be the same phone number as the recipient. It has to be the same name and everything. And one of the challenges that we have at FinTech is how do we make sure that all of the users that sign up are high quality users, they're the exact right person? Because if you have this right foundation, then it's much easier for fintech companies to provide products like insurance, asset management, investments, many different types of products that will enable this population to then take advantage and become more financially self-sufficient. So I think those are like the quality and the quantity of users really improved. I think the third point that I wanted to mention was what was really special about this program was it was very recipient centric, and what that enabled was it forced everybody in the industry to collaborate, because the participants get to choose. If you're not on the program, then you're gonna miss out on this huge opportunity to target this segment. And I saw that all of the e-money players, all of the banks really work together to integrate with the system, and I think can be a platform for many G2P programs in the future. It's a really good use case that we can use as an example for future programs.
Okay. Now, Pak Aldi, startups are still continuing to grow, whether it's e-commerce or fintech. Other than collaborating with payment partners for distributing its incentives, Kartu Prakerja also integrates collaboration with numerous training providers and digital platforms, creating and also promoting e-market competition for trainings in Indonesia. How do you see these developments and competition in promoting digital transformation?
I think the promotion of digital transportation actually starts with having enough first users that are able to absorb the innovation, right? So let me give you an example. Like in Halodoc, we have insurance programs for people that are much more affordable because we use telemedicine, right? Now, in order for that to be available, I think having a digital payment system makes the whole process much more seamless. and makes everybody able to then continue to pay the insurance premiums that they have to pay every month, right? So I do think that having a solid base is going to be really important for any innovation to happen. And then the second part of innovation is how do we increase the number of merchants in the ecosystem, the number of use cases in the ecosystem, so that more and more companies are attracted to this segment. I think one of the challenges is that as a for-profit company, a lot of companies are focused on the users that generate the most profits per user. Right now, I think what because getting the users to sign up for any product is going to cost money for them to download the app, to actually learn. And a lot of the training programs that Prakerja did actually increase the financial literacy of each of these users. Right? I think we talked about earlier how many of the users, this is the first time they had any access to training. And a lot of them had access to email, but never had a bank account. And by having a slightly more educated population, it makes it easier for the companies, for the startups to actually deliver their programs to these users, right?
Nah, Kartu Prakerja beneficiaries have higher access to digital payment systems such as access to mobile, internet banking, or e-money of 86.7% compared to the general population of 9%. Based on the World Bank's Digital Economy Household Survey on 2020. However, 69% of beneficiaries cashed out the full amount of their incentives immediately. Now, with Kartu Prakerja's support in financial inclusion by giving access to digital payment systems, what are the roles that the fintech industry needs to take to increase the use of digital payment systems and also deepen Indonesia's financial inclusion in the future?
Yeah, no, I saw the number, 70% cashed out. It means that they just got the money and then immediately took the money into cash and then paid with cash to all the merchants. I think the first step is very clear from the number is we have to increase the number of merchants who accept these payment methods, right? Because I believe during their Prakerja time, QRIS was also in the middle of the rollout. Now in QRIS, there's about 17 or so million merchants that are accepting QRIS. But the first step in any ecosystem is you have to balance. There's the number of users have tremendously increased with Prakerja, then how do you increase the number of places where the fintech or e-money is accepted? So increasing that number from 17 million merchants to 30 million, and then increasing the number of transactions is something that we as an industry have to promote and educate the customers on how to, educate the merchants on how to easily adopt e-money and also bank payments through their ecosystem. And the second part is actually increasing the number of use cases, right? So merchants, I think you saw the use cases were mostly for food, for consumption, but there are actually quite a lot of other use cases where the money can be used, right? So for example, asset management or investment. I think now there's a lot of programs like equity crowdfunding, there's P2P loans, there's different ways in which these recipients can then use any of the money that's given for more productive assets and also for investments or for future uses of their daily lives, right? The second thing is things like health insurance, right? I do believe that having in this time, especially having a stable base for health is going to be really important. So having use cases that enable the participants, especially in this segment, to have access to better quality care is going to be really important. I mean, I think there are so many startups right now building products for this segment that I hope that these startups will continue to focus on adding these use cases such that the recipients of the Prakerja in any GDP program can no longer need to cash out. I feel like that's our homework. That's something that us as the FinTech Association is working on, and we're collaborating together with BI and OJK and all of the ministries here to actually make it happen.
All right, thank you so much, and we hope also for the same thing, the money can actually be their future savings, yeah. And thank you so much, Pak Aldi, and also the two previous experts. We're moving on to the last expert, finally, and we'd also like to hear opinions, of course, from Ibu Fitria Irmi Triswati in a government perspective. Halo Ibu, apa kabar?
Hello, Miss Frida. A very good morning to you and of course to you all.
Okay, Ibu, what is your general response to the findings of World Bank and also TNP2K study?
Yes, of course. So first, thank you for having me here, and warmest regards to all panelists and participants here. And of course, I would like to congratulate and thank Pak Gede and also Pak Wawan for a comprehensive presentation on Kartu Prakerja. And we appreciate the study conducted by the national team in collaboration with the World Bank. So, Ms. Frida, the findings are interesting and of importance, I believe. And we learned that the program is working effectively, hit the targets, and it supports digital transformation. And we agree it is quite a breakthrough, of course, answering our society's needs, especially in the time of economic recovery. And the findings serve as valuable inputs to the enhancement of the program, of course, and other policies, including payment system policies from Bank Indonesia. As mentioned in the result of the study from payment system point of view, we are pleased that Kartu Prakerja provides many benefits, not only for beneficiaries, but also to payment service providers as important factor in building inclusive digital ecosystem, together with Chris that Pak Aldi mentioned before. So in addition to encouraging financial inclusion, this program also fosters the expansion and acceleration of digital finance and transparency in social assistance disbursement. And next, we agree, of course, that all relevant authorities need to work together to create a supportive digital ecosystem so that the beneficiaries could optimally experience their digital journey and take the most advantage of it. Pak Gede and Pak Wawan, we surely are looking forward to the result analysis of program Keluarga Harapan and program Sembako next to enrich our understandings as a provision in preparing for the social assistance digitalization or G2P 4.0 in the near future. Back to you, Ms. Frida.
Okay, now Ibu Fitria, Kartu Prakerja Innovations as a novelty program include the adaptation of digital technologies from registration to incentive disbursement. And by partnering with 2 banks and 4 e-monies, what are your thoughts on these innovations, especially in relation to Indonesia's payment system?
Okay, well, the fact that this program brings up end-to-end digitalization in its beneficiaries' journey is what the innovation all about, I think. The journey from making online registration, and then buying vouchers, choosing programs, up to receiving post-training incentives using bank and e-money account as non-cash payment mechanism is very consistent and aligns with Bank Indonesia's Indonesia Payment System Blueprint 2025, if you already hear about that. So the blueprint launched by Bank Indonesia in 2019 is fully oriented toward efforts to build a healthy ecosystem for the development of the digital economy and finance in Indonesia. It conveys 5 visions and navigates Bank Indonesia's long-term policy direction in payment system. And the very first vision of the blueprint is to reinforce the integration of national digital economy and finance in assuring the proper function of central bank mandate, one of them, of course, financial system stability, including financial inclusion. And this vision focuses on efforts of building a digital economy financial configuration that supports the economic empowerment of the community. And this makes those innovations in Kartu Prakerja and our implementation of the blueprint hand in hand in supporting each other in building sound and effective digital economies, and of course empowering our community in economic recovery, as well as in answering a global trend. And if I may add, Ms. Frida, Bank Indonesia, in collaboration with other authorities, promotes acceleration and expansion of the digital ecosystem by digitalization of 3 government programs: social assistance, regional government transaction, and transportation. And we contribute in strengthening in business models, regulation, and payment method as needed, as well as the continuous improvement of data quality. And just like Kartu Prakerja, we can say that the business model of this program is becoming more and more inclined towards digital inclusion with various options of instruments, media, and outlet available. So it is also customer-centric and omni-channel. So we are eager to contribute more in the implementation of the G2P 4.0 soon in collaboration with the government.
The study results show that this program is able to accelerate financial inclusion, indicated by the fact that 58.5% Kartu Prakerja beneficiaries opened bank and e-money accounts for the first time. Bank Indonesia, together with the Ministry of Finance, the Financial Services Authority or OJK, and Indonesia Deposit Insurance Corporation or LPS, collaborate in the Coordination Forum for Development Financing through Financial Markets or FKPPPK, and set the target for the 2024 financial inclusion at least to reach 90%, specifically for the young generation. And meanwhile, the 2019 statistics shows that the Financial Inclusion Index has only reached 76.9%. Now, Ibu Fitria, do you consider that the implementation of the multi-channel government two-person or G2P system in Kartu Prakerja, is it able to promote the acceleration of financial inclusion in Indonesia?
Yes, first of all, Ms. Frida, hopefully, generally, it is not a long way to go from 76% to 90% in a 5-year period. And the fact that almost 50% of the beneficiaries opened their first electronic money accounts, and 8% of the beneficiaries opened their first bank account to receive the incentives, proves that Kartu Prakerja has made a positive contribution to financial inclusion, in my opinion. And given that the current financial inclusion is 76, you said, according to OJK's data in 2019, we are optimistic that we can achieve the 90% target by 2024 by expanding and accelerating of digital payment through a variety of digitalization program, including social assistance digitalization program, as implementation of multi-channel G2P system in Kartu Prakerja. So of course, yes, Kartu Prakerja is surely able to promote the acceleration of the financial inclusion. And integration of the system, as well as the synergy and collaboration of the program, will be the key. So I say. However, we would like to point out one of the findings that 69% of the beneficiaries cashed out the entire incentives. And one of the reasons for limited digital transaction in the Kartu Prakerja account is the lack of supportive digital ecosystem, especially in rural areas where merchants only accept cash. But as the member of National Financial Inclusion Council, BI also promotes financial inclusion, and Working Group 3 of our blueprint is focusing in expanding the reach of financial services to meet the needs of various community groups through cashless programs and also bank agents. So we promote and encourage the use of bank agents in rural areas, also known as Digital Financial Services Agent or LKD. So, ladies and gentlemen, financial inclusion is accelerating thanks to digital technology. And we witnessed the volume of electronic money payment transaction increased almost 40% in April 2022, year on year. And the volume of digital banking transaction increased 50% year on year. So these two transactions have dominated the use of digital payments in Indonesia. So we are confident that the growth of digital ecosystem combined with all of our efforts, especially Chris that mentioned before, will contribute to a national agenda of financial inclusion.
Okay, thank you so much, Ibu Fitria Esmi Triswati, Director of the Payment System Policy Department of Bank Indonesia. And I also would like to thank, of course, 3 of our previous experts who have shared their insights, Ibu Deni Puspa Purbasari, Pak Yose Rizal Damuri, and also Pak Aldi Haryo Pratomo. There are so many insights from our experts today, but about Kartu Prakerja. Now I would like to probably get back to Mr. Purnagunawan and Mr. Putra as our researchers, and I would like to know if you have any more additional insights or comments on what those experts have shared with us. Maybe Pak Purnagunawan can give his first comments.
Okay, thank you, Mbak Frida, and thank you for the comment for the discussion today. It's really insightful and add more to our full report later on. So it is correct that the use of digital financial services is based on the size of the users also and the ecosystems, and then it cannot be done by only the Prakerja or the government. Social assistance systems. It should be a collaborative work between government institution and also the privates, and also increasing also the financial literacy of the Indonesian people. So Kartu Prakerja is one way to increase the usage, to increase the financial inclusion that the Indonesian promotes now. But we also have to push forward the digital financial literacy. Financial literacy and especially digital financial literacy, right? So people now become more easy and then gaining trust to the usage of this payment system.
Okay, and a final comment maybe from Pak Gede from World Bank.
Thank you, Frida. I think I'll highlight 2 points. The first one, I think, coming from Pak Jose about the policy. I think it's really important to consider because, I mean, for Indonesia, this is a good breakthrough. But if we compare this to other countries' examples, we're not talking just about one program, but we're talking about multiple programs. Now, I think Ibu Fitria has mentioned about the importance of G2P 4.0 policy moving forward. What's going to be the challenge would be how to integrate the policy between different social assistance programs and how to use and leverage the same infrastructures moving forward so it could become effective and efficient. Now, the last point I think I'd like to mention is about the importance of consumer protections. Because I mentioned the use of DFS is really important to gain the trust and the confidence coming from the consumers in general, not just the beneficiaries. And then if they feel being protected, then they will trust the product more. So in that sense, the importance of consumer protections provided by BI and also by OJK, particularly with the implementations of market conduct supervisions moving forward, this will be key in terms of establishing such elements.
All right.
That's from my side.
All right. Thank you so much for the additional comments and also insight from Pak Wawan and Pak Gede. Now we're going to move on to the Q&A session, and I would like to thank you all for all the participants who have submitted their questions. We have chosen several questions, and I will read them one by one. We begin by the first question addressed to Pak Gede Putra Arsana. Trend of G2P payment mechanism is moving forward towards recipient-centric model. How far could Indonesia's digital ecosystem cope with this G2P 3.0 or delivery over multiple channels and choices? I would like Pak Gede to address that question.
Thank you. So I think just continuing from what my previous comment, as I mentioned before, I mean, if we look at the implementations of G2P in Indonesia, there are several steps and several layers of implementations. There are programs that basically fully deliver on cash. There are programs that use and utilize account in terms of like distributions. But there's also a program like Prakerja that is more advanced in providing the beneficiary choice. I think the first questions for the government or for the policymakers is that how the government wants to integrate the implementations of G2P payments moving forward. Is there everything is going to move towards beneficiary-centric, which is proven to be very useful for not just for the beneficiaries, but also for the providers and also from the program owners. Now, in order to do that, there are steps that needs to be implemented for sure. One, of course, revising the regulations. Second would be to set up the infrastructures. Because if we're thinking about the onboarding process, for example, then onboarding process, what is really good from the Prakerja examples is they do it digitally. Now, the questions, the government has been trying to improve the digital ID elements that will help in terms of like having the eKYC elements and then options moving forward. Now, having a non-face-to-face options for onboarding is important. But in order to do that, infrastructure needs to be built, policy needs to be established, and then some consistency between policy and infrastructure needs to be needed. The second part that's also missing in Indonesia is what we call the central mapper. Because if you're only using one program like Prakerja, it's probably much simpler. But if you have, like, for example, one PKH program, one Sembako programs, and then Prakerja, and then you have other different programs, multiple programs running at the same times, then you need to have like this hub of technology that will exchange data and informations, one on eligibility, the other one is on the account informations. and using the ID as the basis. So if the government is really serious, yes, the policy is going to be the first element that needs to be fixed. The second part is we're talking about the infrastructures that is already available, but needs to be linked to one another. And then the third part is basically establishing a relevant infrastructures like digital ID and central mappers to facilitate the exchange of data and information. With that, hopefully within 5 years, 10 years down the road, we can see the improvement in terms of G2P payments implementations.
Okay, thank you so much, Pak Gede, for the answer. And we're moving on to the next question. The second question is addressed to Ibu Deni Purbasari. Launched in the midst of the pandemic, Kartu Prakerja faces some expectations to move rapidly, and previous surveys and studies from independent institutions have proved that Kartu Prakerja has succeeded in achieving its goals. Looking at these positive results, what are the challenges that Kartu Prakerja had to face, and also how did you tackle those challenges? Could you share the lessons learned from Kartu Prakerja?
The lesson learned from Kartu Prakerja, I think the success of Prakerja depends on some factors. The first one is the strong mandate of the program itself, because policy needs some strong regulations to support. So Prakerja is actually is regulated by the presidential decree, the highest political power in our country, which later on is being implemented using the decree of coordinating Minister of Economic Affairs and also the regulation of the Minister of Finance. So that's the first key success. The second thing is on the institutions setup. So in Prakerja, we actually have some kind of a division of labor based on the specializations. On the policy side, Minister Airlangga is actually the chairman of a board or a committee, policy committee consisting of 14 ministers in the cabinet. And the second one, on the implementation side, there is PMO, the Project Management Office, that consisting almost all professionals hired from the industries. So in this case, with the combination of the policy committee plus PMO that focus on day-to-day operations, we want to make sure there is excellence in the policy side and there is excellence on the operation side. Because in general, the government has good intentions of delivering programs, but maybe it's quite, difficult in ensuring the quality of the delivery of the services to the people on the ground. And then the third one, I think it is on the agility and commitment that made by every agents in the ecosystem of Prakerja. It is not only on the government, but also on the private sectors in the ecosystem. So Prakerja pushed the importance of the PPP scheme in serving trainings, serving the public, because public and private partnership is actually quite common for infrastructure, but not for trainings. So in Prakerja, we are doing that. And every agent is actually responsible and also obeying the regulations or the standards that made by PMO or set up by the new regulations. So what happened here is that agility on the side of PMO is like, our culture, because the majority of our talents in the office is actually people or millennials from the startups. So agility is already in their blood. But Prakerja is using, state budget that is very rigid with a lot of regulations. So you can imagine every day is like a battle in the office, because one side wants to be, press for progress, and the other one is conservatism, is already in their blood. So, but again, when PMO is understanding about how the program should be delivered to the people, the voice of the people, and then we do iterations almost every day. That's why if you see Prakerja is made to tailor to the, the need of our users. We never saw, for example, the server is black out, for example, more than 2 hours, never, because our engineers is always stand ready to fix the problem. So agility in the PMO is already there, but we rarely see agility in the regulations or the government on the policy side. But what is amazing in Prakerja is the collaboration between, the policy side and the operation side. Pak Airlangga and his team is amazing because he always listening to the voice of PMO, that actually listening to the public. And then he is willing to basically also tweak the regulations in order to fit, in order to give more benefits to the people, in order to make the program is more effective and efficient. So that's basically the lesson learned from Prakerja that might be being copied by other programs.
Thank you, Ibu Deni, and we sure hope the collaboration will go on successfully.
Amin.
For the much longer time, yeah. The next question is intended to Pak Aldi Haryo Pratomo. The challenges of technological adaptation in the future will be more complex, and the needs for digitally literate will become more important. Now, to fully optimize technological advancement, access to the internet and improvements of digital spaces are, of course, needed. In your opinion, Pak Aldi, what are the things that we need to prepare in facing those challenges?
Yeah, I actually think, thank you for the question. Pak Gede actually mentioned a really important point today. I think consumer protection is going to be something that we really need to be really strong on, because the challenge with having a lot of inclusion without a lot of literacy and a lot of protection is it becomes much easier to then create scams and things that are not good for the vulnerable population, right? So I do believe that, I think so far BI, OJK have been really excellent at actually providing consumer protection for our most vulnerable users. I think one of the advantages in Prakerja is actually that you have this validated data of a segment of the population that is really hard to get. Like commercially, trying to validate the people, the 40% of the population who are the poorest is very expensive. And having that valid data plus having a really strong consumer protection is going to be really important. I think the second thing that's really important is going to be the collaboration, as mentioned by Putra earlier, right? And how do we make sure that the startups, the industry, the government officials and the regulators that actually are trying to serve this population collaborate? Because I think without a good framework for collaboration, each of the companies will then provide their own infrastructure or provide their own solution, which makes it very confusing for the people at the bottom. A good example of this collaboration was actually done through Keris, right, where the different payment companies had different standards, and then the government eventually decided, in this case BI, to have one standard that everybody can use, which make it easy for all the banks and all the players to plug and play. So having that collaboration and standardization is going to be really, really important. And I think the last part is actually education, right? One of the benefits of Prakerja, as mentioned earlier by Pak Gede, is actually the training, the increase in competency from the actual users that use the technology. And you need a certain base of understanding of technology such that more and more products can be built on top of another. And the combination of these three, protection, collaboration, and education, is going to provide a really good financial platform for most of the people in Indonesia that needs these products.
Thank you, Pak Aldi, for your elaborate answer. Another question, and this one is addressed to Ibu Fitria Irmi Triswati from Bank Indonesia. The 2019 National Financial Literacy and Inclusion Survey indicates the financial literacy index of 38%. Kartu Prakerja has also promoted basic financial literacy, such as introducing the ways to open an account, e-money features, and etc. Ibu Fitria, in your opinion, what kind of strategies are basically needed to further improve financial literacy?
Okay, thank you for the question. So, of course, in my opinion, to increase the digital financial literacy, the approach is always education and then socialization and dissemination from all the authorities and also all the key players in the field, of course. From Bank Indonesia, we continue to do that. One of them is that we have this website called Bliss. It is intended to people from beginner level up to the advanced level to to learn all about digitalization and all about starting startups or whatever, so that they can benefit from the expert that put the the presentation or whatever in there. And of course, we always try to give like a complete experience, a digital experience in all our infrastructure, so that the people can enjoy the easiness, the of all the infrastructure that we have. I guess that's it, in my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you, Ibu Fitria, for the answer. And I still have some questions. The next one is addressed for Pak Yose Rizal. Although we are unable to discuss, based on the presentation, people prefer to use e-money to receive incentives because it's considered easier than opening a bank account and also faster to receive incentive. With this transformation, Pak Yose Rizal, are we going on to the right direction, or does e-money uses in social assistance is really needed in Indonesia?
Yes, I think it helps a lot for the social assistance recipients to get the another options to have their assistance being delivered to e-money. And I agree with you that it is easier to open up the e-money accounts, although still from the presentations and from the study, we also see that some of the recipients of Kartu Prakerja still have difficulties in having in linking the e-money account to their profile. It might be it might be due to the KYC process in the e-money program. So and also perhaps the e-money itself still need to have better regulations. So in the end, in my opinions, for the futures, it might be quite beneficial for us to think about easier process in linking the e-money e-money accounts, and also for the KYC process of the e-money. We also still need to have a better regulatory framework, policy framework for e-money and digital payment in general, such as how these digital payments can also be linked toward the progress of digital banking in a more comprehensive way, or in a more general way. That kind of things that we still need to discuss a lot, and we still need to have a better supportive regulatory framework for digital payment and digital financials in general.
All right, thank you, Pak Yose Rizal, for your answer. The next question is for Pak Wawan, Pak Muhamad Purnagunawan. Kartu Prakerja does a collaboration with bank and also other PSP partners, including e-money platforms, to distribute disbursement. Do you see this breakthrough could reach all levels of social structure?
Yeah, thank you very much for the question. So, as Bu Deni already mentioned, right? The more choices, the more penetration that we can have, right? Now with this 6 institutions that actually involved in the Prakerja, it's actually cover up almost everything. But because this is the government programs and the disbursements is there, right? So the beneficiaries will be forced, actually, right, to use all the choices that they have, and then from the studies, it shows that more than 96% actually can link and then use this technology. So I believe that this introduction innovations in involving the e-money and also adding more and more bank accounts can help the Prakerja to reach more and more people in Indonesia. So as Pak Putra and Bu Deni also mentioned, right? If we have more choices, then it will make the transportation costs, if there's any, is lower. It can also more fitting with their maybe the community and also the infrastructure that already been there, right? Because we also know that as one of the showcases that Pak Putra mentioned, they receive the money using the DFS, but the community has not been there yet. So it is ongoing process, but I think we're going to the right directions, and hopefully that this innovation also follow up by another social assistance programs that push forward the usage of digital financial services, and then opening access for the financial inclusion for all Indonesian people.
Hopefully we'll get there soon, ya, Pak.
Yes, that's right.
Now I would like to go back to Pak Yose Rizal for the next question. Based on the study results, 41% of the beneficiaries completed the first training because of intrinsic motivation, and 78.2% respondents were able to purchase Kartu Prakerja training easily. And of course, this kind of advantage by using digital-based implementation. Pak Yose Rizal, what are your thoughts regarding technological adaptation impacts on improving human resources and Indonesian economy in general?
Yes, thank you for the questions. I think it's imperative for Indonesia and also for us in general to embrace and to adopt the digital technology because it's going to define our not only our economy but also our life in the future even more intensively. And in order to do that, we need to gather various aspects that is necessary for digital adaptations, especially on the digital skills and digital literacy. And the study findings actually also mentions that the one of the problems is on the digital literacy. Not only the digital literacy that we need to be to the familiarity of the technology, but also on how to pay more attention on various aspects such as security, privacy, and protections. That kind of things still need to be improved for sure. In CSIS, for example, so we just launched the digital skills and digital literacy toolkit to measure that kind of aspects for G20 countries. And we also already use it for several areas in Indonesia, and we see that we still need to catch up, a lot of things to catch up in order for us to prepare for more technological adaptations in the future.
Okay, Pak Yose Rizal, thank you, Pak. Now I would like to go to Pak Aldi again. Pak Aldi, when it comes to government-to-person payment system, Kartu Prakerja is the pioneer in Indonesia that incorporates partnership with fintechs alongside with banks and giving choices of disbursement channels to the beneficiaries, showing a consumer-centric approach. How do you see this collaboration benefits the public? Can Kartu Prakerja breakthrough become a lesson learned for Indonesia's digital transformation?
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. I really do think that this can be a really good example. Let me just give you how I think a lot of these programs can work in the future. I think Budeni earlier mentioned about how the PMO is very fast and very reactive, and I think we really saw that as the industry when I was in GoPay, OVO, everybody was there in the beginning, and it felt like we were almost like one company building something for the nation, right? And I do feel that that framework of collaboration was the government, in this case, a PMO office. It doesn't have to be a ministry, it's a PMO for a project that has a very clear goal, that is a very young and dynamic team working together with a lot of the fintechs to build infrastructure for the country is an example that can be used not only by other G2P programs, but also other sectors in the country. I do feel that there is a culture in Indonesia called gotong royong, right? And the startups here also have that culture. So as long as you have one centralized decision maker and PMO that helps everybody collaborate, I think that you can create something that's magical in the way that Prakerja was able to transform the way that we do G2P in the country.
All right, Pak Aldi, thanks so much for your insight. And I still have a question, and this one is addressed to Ibu Fitria of Bank Indonesia. Bank Indonesia has launched QRIS with the aim of transaction efficiency among other goals. The study results also suggest that 96.4% beneficiaries were satisfied with the cashless method due to the speed of the disbursement. The collaboration of Kartu Prakerja with payment partners also improves the ease of disbursement process. Ibu Fitria, what are your expectations on Indonesia's social assistance disbursement system in the future?
Okay, thank you. So the synergy between our QRIS, Quick Response Indonesian Standard, and the Social Assistance Program is, of course, one of Bank Indonesia's key programs as part of the QRIS expansion strategies, together with education and campaigns that I mentioned before, as well as awards for payment providers, local governments, and also merchant. So Bank Indonesia has been facilitating government programs or initiative with QRIS, including the social assistance programs, in order to optimize the disbursement mechanism through digitalization. So this is the hope that is in the future, of course, more effective and solid. And in regards to the synergy between QRIS and Kartu Prakerja, the beneficiaries of Kartu Prakerja who have obtained entrepreneurship competency development program are able to utilize QRIS in the initiation phase of their business activities or payment in daily transactions. This built, digital mindset for this. QRIS enables startups to enter the digital payment ecosystem in the most efficient way, and therefore enable them to access broader digital financial services going forward. And QRIS also provides an opportunity for beneficiaries to expand its customer base, of course, which will eventually boost the profits due to their capabilities in providing an alternative payment method for the customers. The synergy empowers MSMEs in promoting economic and financial inclusion. So, of course, Ms. Frida, in the future, we hope that this synergy is getting more solid, more effective, and contribute to building digital mindset in our society, answering the need of a fast, affordable, convenient, secure, and reliable payment system, as we usually use this jargon in bahasa as cemumuah, cepat, mudah, murah, aman, dan handal.
Okay, and I think that is the last questions that we have for this Q&A session. I would like to thank Ibu Fitria Irmi Triswati for the answer earlier, and of course to Pak Yose Rizal Damuri, Pak Aldi Haryo Pratomo, who are joining virtually. Thank you so much for the answers. And Ibu Dani Puspa Purbasari, who is with me in the studio. And also two of our researchers, Pak Raden Muhamad Purnagunawan and Pak Gede Putra Arsana. Thank you so much for your participation. And although we are unable to discuss all the questions collected, we really appreciate your participation in the Q&A session. We hope that our discussion can really induce some thinking, further thinking, and more discussion onwards. The Q&A session marks the end of our webinar, and to close this agenda, we are very honored to have received a closing remark from the Director of Information and Communication Technology and Disaster Risk Reduction Division from the United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific, or UNESCAP, Madam Tiziana Bonapace.
Excellency, Airlangga Hartarto, the Coordinating Minister of Economic Affairs, Dr. Deni Puspa Purbasari, the Executive Director of the Project Management Office of Kartu Prakerja, distinguished participants. I wish to extend special thanks to Executive Director Deni Purbasari, as well as the co-organizers and sponsoring foundations and organizations for the invitation extended to ESCAP. It is a pleasure to have this opportunity to address you. I also extend warm felicitations to all the breakthrough achievements of the program. Having reached out to more than 11 million beneficiaries, this program is indeed a testament to the concrete, on-the-ground dividends that digitalization can bring. Distinguished participants, let me share a few perspectives from the wider Asia-Pacific region. Improving financial inclusion can be a game changer because, as we know well, a defining feature of the evolving pandemic world is that digital is now our default mode, and the changes have taken place at an unimaginable pace. However, this Big Bang has not been without its challenges. Many have and continue to be left behind. In the Asia-Pacific region, over 2 billion people do not have access to the digital world. Ensuring that digital transformation happening all around us does not become another facet of deep inequality is probably one of the greatest challenges we face as the region starts to rebuild. And this is why inclusion must be at the heart of digital transformation and accompanying digital policies if the promise to leave no one behind is to be met. This rapid digital transformation has provided the opportunity to address financial inclusion, and it is exemplary that Indonesia has leveraged on this opportunity and is delivering digital financial services in such an innovative way. We are certain that the innovations underway will continue to add value through the support they provide to individuals and vulnerable individuals, especially women entrepreneurs, to continue to operate and trade with increased efficiencies and productivity. The rollout of such innovations at pace and scale have also added value through more direct, accountable, and efficient payments of social assistance to marginalized, vulnerable populations. From the ESCAP side, just 2 weeks ago, we celebrated our 75th anniversary. And on this occasion, the Commission adopted a landmark resolution in which members and associate members committed to strengthen digital cooperation at all levels, including the ministerial level, to promote an inclusive digital economy and society. And the resolution further recognizes that ESCAP's Asia-Pacific Information Superhighway Initiative could provide a useful regional platform to further promote digital connectivity and transformation. Under this overall framework, ESCAP has been supporting governments in the Asia-Pacific region to harness digital connectivity for financial inclusion. I would like to briefly highlight 3 examples. First, to give an example of an on-the-ground intervention in Cambodia, many businesses do not keep financial records needed to secure loans from traditional banks. And to address this, we are working with a technology startup to develop the first ever Khmer language app that supports businesses to keep track of business finances and to generate financial records that can help secure loans and thus support financial inclusion into the mainstream banking sector. At the policy level, another example is our work being implemented in partnership with DESA. And here we are supporting the Maldives on developing a regulatory sandbox framework for testing of the introduction of central bank digital currency. The regulatory sandbox would allow controlled testing within the context of the Maldives, and it would enable regulators and operators time to adjust to the new regulations before full-fledged implementation in the market. Similarly, with the Reserve Bank of Fiji, we are exploring how digital technologies can accelerate progress on the country's Fiji National Financial Inclusion Strategy 2022 to 2030. So ESCAP stands ready to promote a sharing of these country experiences, and countries in Asia Pacific could certainly benefit from Indonesia's valuable experience in innovative, inclusive digital financing. And we look forward to welcoming the delegation of Indonesia to the 4th session of the Committee on ICT and STI, which is meeting at the end of August of this year for further experience sharing. In conclusion, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, innovations at the intersection of digital and finance have demonstrated the potential to address the financial inclusion agenda. And it is an agenda that the public and private sectors alike and countries should prioritize and work together on. Thank you very much.
The use of e-money as one of the payment methods in Kartu Prakerja's G2P payment mechanism contributed positively to financial inclusion goal. The study from the World Bank and TNP2K confirmed that Kartu Prakerja beneficiaries have benefited from an easy onboarding process, e-money that encourages cashless transactions, as well as more available access points to choose from and grievance mechanisms. Thank you all for the participation. I would like to thank you all participants, speakers, and press who have stayed with us until the end of Kartu Prakerja, Indonesia's digital transformation and financial inclusion breakthrough webinar. We really hope our discussion can serve something to the efforts on achieving financial inclusion goal and the progress of digital transformation. I'm Frida Litwina, and that is all from me. I wish you all have a blessed day. Hope to see you again soon.
Menambah pengalaman dan pengetahuan untuk bisa nanti bertahan hidup dan biaya ekonomi juga membantu perekonomian keluarga. Pelatihan yang manajemen keuangan itu bisa membuat saya jadi paham gimana cara mengatur keuangan jualan. Kalau saya insentifnya itu dapat 4 kali, untuk 1 bulannya itu saya dapat 600.000. Nah, alhamdulillahnya itu bisa untuk membantu penambahan modal untuk jualan online.
Salah satu cara untuk menambah tong punya skill pengetahuan, tong harus terus belajar. Terus sama pemerintah sudah disediakan program Kartu Prakerja yang memang sangat membantu sekali buat mengulas tong punya skill dan menambah tong punya pengetahuan. Jadi selain dapatkan sertifikat, dapatkan pengalaman baru, ilmu baru, tong juga dikasih insentif. Pesertanya bisa dari seluruh Indonesia dan itu sebenarnya sesuatu yang jarang sekali Papua bisa mendapatkan itu, tapi pada kenyataannya kita di Papua sini bisa ikut merasakan program pemerintah, yaitu Kartu Prakerja itu. Terima kasih banyak buat pemerintah, terima kasih banyak buat program Kartu Prakerja yang sudah sangat-sangat membantu di masa pandemi ini.